Good morning, Facebook Live. Hormone Bootcamp Day 18. Guys, 3 more days and we're halfway there. We're almost over the hump. So keep your eyes on the prize, hold fast, stay true. I'm going to talk more about nutrient deficiencies today and hopefully give you a clearer picture, even though I've shared some of this information, possibly, I don't know how many times, a couple dozen times. I think that by you guys going through the boot camp and actually experiencing, the importance of minerals and other things, some of these concepts that I've shared before are now going to make much more sense. And so that is my goal for today, help you understand why I've, shared some of the things that I've shared in the past. And primarily, we'll talk about sugar, cutting back on sugar. So I don't remember how long ago it was since I last talked about this, but one of my experiences, one of the things that I saw while I was brewing beer that really helped me understand the importance of cutting back on sugar was this concept of, well, let's see, let me think about how to explain this. So when I was brewing beer, if I wanted to make a 5 gallon batch of beer, I needed to start with about 10 gallons of water and about 10 pounds of grain, give or take. And the initial process is basically you would soak the grains in water. And what that would do is all the starch and the grain will basically absorb the water. And the grains would need the water and minerals to start digesting, to start basically converting starch into sugar. So this goes back to the entire purpose of the first week of this boot camp, which was essentially to mineralize the body. And that is because water and minerals is essentially what's needed for digestion. But let me go back to what I just said and point out something that's very, very important. In order for sugar to be digested, to be broken down, you need water and minerals. And so, one of the reasons why cutting back on sugar, why it made sense for me, and why I think it's important, and why it's not so much that you need to completely cut it out of your life and never eat sugar again. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is for hormone production, one of the things that I understood was that my body was lacking water and minerals. It was lacking, it was not, hydrating properly. And because of that, I needed to basically mineralize my body. And so cutting back on sugar, what I understood what that was doing for me was that the sugar, if I'm eating too much sugar, well, my body's going to require water and minerals to break it down, to digest it. And so the more bread that you eat, any kind of starch, any kind of carbohydrate, any kind of sugar, what that means is that your body needs a lot more water and minerals to break that down, to process that. And so that's basically, the importance of cutting back on sugar. The other one is that in order to produce hormones, you need to focus on vitamins A, D, E, and K. And I've mentioned this also in the past that, hormone, lack of hormones, hormone imbalance. From a physical standpoint, it can be that you're just missing, you're low on those vitamins. If you're low on vitamin D, like I was, the chances are you're going to have like low testosterone, low energy, and things like that. The only other one that would be, more common than that would be being deficient in vitamin A. And when you're deficient in vitamin A, what that means is that you're going to basically experience more things like fibromyalgia, and other things like that, fibrosis and things like that. That's basically a lack of vitamin A. And again, in order to, be able to boost your vitamins A and D, you need to focus on fats, healthy fats, and you need to improve fat digestion. And in order to improve fat digestion, again, you need to lower the amount of fermentable carbohydrates in your diet and increase salt. And so this goes back to mineral deficiency, nutrient deficiency. And that's why, by cutting out sugar, mineralizing your body, and then actually giving your body the nutrients that it needs, how this is going to basically prepare your body to actually produce and make vitamins A, D, E, and K, which is basically the first step towards hormone production. So that's really that's basically the main message, the main tip that I want to share with you today. The second one is I keep going back to, there's the physical side and then there's the mental side. And I've talked about my morning routine that I wake up, I hydrate, I do my gratitude journal, but I want to give you another tip, something else that has helped me. And I want you to ask yourself, social media, or not necessarily social media, but the phone, just your phone alone. Most people wake up and first thing they do is they reach out, grab their phone, and they start to check their social media, their messages, their email, and things like that. And that's something else that I put, I delay that, for the for a later time in the day. I wake up and basically do my gratitude journal, do my water, get ready, for my day essentially. And then the first time that I actually use my phone is right now when I go live on Facebook, and I don't scroll down. I don't scroll on Facebook. I'm not basically, subjecting my mind or anything like that to any kind of like external information. And the average person scrolls, I don't know how many feet, but I want to say that the number that they gave basically is the equivalent of the height of the Statue of Liberty. That's how much people scroll nowadays on social media. And you got to understand that all of that scrolling is putting you through a lot of information, and you have to learn to control your emotions, right? This is part of, this is part of hormone balance, because all of that information can affect your stress, your cortisol levels, your insulin, right? There's a lot of things that can go on with that. And until you are able to actually control your environment and you actually do a fast from social media, you're going to experience the same thing that you would when you do a fast from food, is that you actually get clear and you realize how much that is affecting you when you actually step away from it, and then you come back to it and you realize, hey, you know what, I feel much better when I actually control my environment, when I actually decided what I put into my body, when I actually decided what I put into my mind. It's all the same thing. So that's another tip. Be mindful of how much you're using your phone, your social media, and what is it that you are looking at on your social media. Like for me, I rarely even post on my Facebook anymore. I rarely scroll. And if I do, like if you go, well, my Facebook I don't really use much. Instagram I use a little bit, but it's mostly for people that I follow that are, successful people, where I get a lot of my good information that inspires me, that motivates me. And if you notice, like the reason why part of my programs here is basically a little bit of it is, inspiration, motivational, and feeding your mind, is because that's what I am doing for myself, and that's basically transferring over. And that I can tell that it affects my mood, and that affects my, my gut health to an extent, which, if you don't understand what I mean by that, go watch my anxiety masterclass that I did inside of our Facebook group. I have the link in the description of this live video. But I basically explain how your thoughts can affect gut health, how that can affect, your stress levels, your cortisol, and that is part of hormone balance. So again, I'm giving you everything that I do to both produce and balance out hormones. So this is important. Pay attention to it. Go back and watch my videos from this week where I've been basically harping on this. And trust me, when you start to incorporate this into your lifestyle, you're going to start to see more changes. Another thing I said, I got my car back, but apparently it's still not ready, even though I had a, $2,600 repair. And anyways, it's bad, but you know what? That's the thing, is you got to learn to control your emotions. I can be stressed out right now, and to an extent, like I'm not like, it's not like I'm not feeling the stress of it. It's not like, I mean, they told me $2,600 to repair my car, and yeah, like part of me would like, well, fuck me, like that's a lot of money. But I cannot let something like that, ruin my day, and that's really part of it. And it's not just controlling your negative emotions, it's also your positive. Like if you're doing things that, like this is why social media is addictive. It's because you're scrolling and you find something that you like, you tap it, you like it, and then you something you really like, you save it, maybe you share it, you send it to someone. Those are dopamine like spike, events. And if you're not aware of how that is, racing you and then bringing you down, and that's all affecting your emotions, if you're not able, or if you're not even aware that that's happening, if you're not able to actually control those emotions, that's really part of, hormone balances, learning how to control all of those emotions, both good and bad.
You know, probably I'm gonna be doing like a lot more training on this because I think this is like a really key and missing part of you know, hormone balance. But anyways, that's it for now. I gotta get going and hope you guys have a great day. By the way, I'm going to be doing the workshop, diet workshop number 3 tonight at 7 p.m. inside of the Facebook group. So head over to the Facebook group at 7 p.m. I'll send out a message, a reminder. I got a really good submission for a diet, and anyone else that wants me to review their diets, you know, if you're participating in the Hormone Bootcamp, you know, I'll be sending out emails and messages. So make sure you send those out, and I'll, you know, try to squeeze in as much as I can. And that's it. So, all right, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys at 7 p.m. All right, talk to you later.